Real quick off the top before we start, we want to acknowledge that this episode discusses the Evergreen High School shooting and its impact on the community.
We recognize that this may be difficult to hear, especially for those directly affected.
So please take care of yourself while listening. It's okay to pause, skip this episode altogether, or come back to it when you're ready.
Yeah, today's conversation focuses on healing and support. Ami McCarthy, the director of the Evergreen Resiliency Center, shares how the center is helping individuals and families navigate grief, trauma, and recovery. And she talks about how the community is coming together and the resources that are available to those who need them. Let's get started.
Welcome into the Engage Jeffco podcast. This episode, we're sitting down on some very cozy couches with Ami McCarthy. You're the director of the Evergreen Resiliency Center. That's where we're sitting. And tell me a little bit about what the Evergreen Resiliency Center is all about.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate it. The resiliency centers are typically established after a mass tragedy to provide support and resources after a mass incident. The Evergreen Resiliency Center, as with all resiliency centers, we really try very hard to really kind of navigate what the community might need. Victim survivor advocacy and first responder services like AccuDetox. Mental health referrals to partner agencies, providing resources to those things we may not have in-house so that people may have different needs and we have different partners that can provide that for them. We also do a lot of play. We do a lot of games. We do a lot of things that were asked for by the kids at the high school. And we know that play is therapeutic. And we were all in on having foosball and cornhole and everything that they might possibly need to really kind of come together in a safe space.
We talked about what the need for an ERC is. What was the catalyst, I guess, for starting one in Evergreen?
The Resiliency Center here in Evergreen was set up after the mass incident that happened at Evergreen High School in September 10th of 2025 to provide a safe place for connection for the people that were impacted by that. Both the schools and the community, we wanted to provide a safe place for them to gather. And like with all resiliency centers, we wanted to provide resources and things that we had talked about as far as like navigation and advocacy.
And why did you personally get involved with the Evergreen Resiliency Center?
So with my history, I've been training on victim services, trauma, and mass incident for many years. I have sat on several Resiliency Center advisory boards, but I wanted to experience firsthand being a part of a team, actually working within the Resiliency Center and assisting the community in this way. I haven't had this particular experience in mass incident, and I really wanted to see how much of a difference I could make.
And you talked about your experience. From your experience, what do communities need most right after a tragedy? And is it different than what they need all the time?
I think that it is trying to establish some sort of safety for them. It's actually also a place where they can go, where they can get resources in one spot. And it can bring people together that wouldn't normally have a place that they can do that. And so that's what we're trying to provide here. But I think it's different for different communities.
Oh, yeah, totally.
How much time have you spent in Evergreen so far?
I started here in mid-January.
Okay.
So just a few months. And it feels like a lot longer because I think the team that I have and our oversight agency is the Victim Outreach Incorporated. You know, all of us have really come together and have done such tremendous work already with reaching out to the community, creating those partnerships and creating such a beautiful space here and a welcoming space. And so I've been very thoughtful about how it can come together so quickly and so beautifully. And I'm just still amazed by that.
And I mean, we got a little tour of the Evergreen Resiliency Center here, and it looks like a fun space. And I think that's the whole point, is people can kind of use it how they want to. There's a book nook, a cozy spot.
I like the arcade.
The arcade games. There's
arcade.
A popcorn machine.
I'm going to be hitting that up on the way out. So, yeah.
And unfortunately, our nation has seen a lot of what we're calling mass incidents. And you've been there at a few of those. And so tell me a little bit of the mass incidents other than Evergreens that you've responded to or been a part of.
So I've been involved in mass incident response since the Aurora Theater shooting. I was actually in law enforcement during Columbine, so we were on standby, but I wasn't called as a victim service advocate. And from Aurora, I've responded to every mass incident in Colorado since then. And I've been deployed by the Attorney General's office to Las Vegas. And after the Boulder shooting, I've been asked from King Soopers to assist in some of their stores where they've met with mass violence nationwide. And so my foundation is on working with mass incident survivors and the trauma that comes with that.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
I have to imagine, going from event to event like you have, what kind of toll does that take on you personally?
That's a very good question. And one of the things that I try to do is really train. And I'm on a lot of committees, and I just sat on the National Governors Association task force to kind of put a curricula together because people are asking those questions, right? When we are doing this work for so long, we have to really keep our finger on the pulse of that mass vicarious trauma and taking that in. And that's very important, right? It's that slowly turning up the heat like that frog in boiling water. And so we want to keep our finger on the pulse of that. But what I've kind of shifted in all the years that I've been training on vicarious trauma is really kind of starting to veer into, let's talk about vicarious resilience. And let's talk about all the people that have been touched by this kind of violence and are now thriving and making really good steps to really reclaim what they lost during that time. And so I kind of want to focus a little bit on, for the first responders and those that are in it, the vicarious trauma is very, very real. And a part of that for us in reclaiming our own health is maybe really recognizing some of the people we've helped and what they're doing now and how well they're doing.
I'm sure that, makes it all worth it to see that,
if
they can come out of this event because of the resources you've provided. That's probably healing for you as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what keeps people in the field.
What is the goal of the ERC, and what kind of services specifically do you provide?
One of the things that we do provide are different things that we feel that are needed in the community. So we talked a little bit about the play, we talked about the games and all that stuff, but we also provide whatever might come up for the community that they want. If they want to have a yoga group meet 3 times a week, we want to do that. If they want to come in and spend time just reading in one of our book nooks, we want to provide that too. We also provide drinks and stuff to kind of munch on. We also provide just a safe space to be with a friend. We're trying very hard to let people know too is that the mental health piece is very important. And we do have mental health care providers that can come in and spend their time here. There are great mental health care providers in Evergreen that are doing that work. But it isn't just that, right? They're not coming here for just mental health. It's just a safe place to be. And one of the things that I've seen threaded through all the mass incidents that I've been in is that the most healing thing is human connection. And we want to be able to provide a foundation for that. And I think that we do a really good job of it.
Absolutely. As you said, mental health is, of course, an important piece of it. But when there's, ping pong tables and all of the games, and you said you got feedback kind of before, ask the students, what would you like this space to be?
That's what they said. Or we want cornhole tournaments, and we want ping pong tournaments, and we want to come in and play basketball and all of those things. And we were very happy about that because we knew that we could provide that, and we knew that it was also healing and that there are safe places, there were safe people around during that play to kind of, watch to make sure if there are triggers that were on that too, right? And so we've been very grateful for their input and very grateful that we're able to give that to them.
You said earlier when we were touring around that, play, we don't maybe want to let them know that it's a mental health thing, but it definitely is.
Play is healing.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. It's healing and it's cathartic, and it allows you get your body moving. You also provide a place where people can collaborate and cooperate and feel safe. So
yeah, that's very cool. When we talk about resiliency, what does that mean?
So I think that there's wider versions of what that definition means. I think that the process for me is the successfully adapting to a difficult or challenging life experience. Because I think that that's the widest version, because we all go through it, right? From the death of someone to a breakup to the resilience of living in a world right now that mass incident and violence is being normalized sometimes, right? And so we want to be very cognizant that the resilience that we look for and the factors that are contributed to it are ways in which individuals view and engage with the world. Some people are isolating, some people are getting out there and doing more things. The availability and the quality of the resources that are being out there, and know what your own personal coping strategies are, right? If you're an outdoors person and you haven't been outdoors in 2 months, that's probably a good predictor of where you're at with getting back into the world and reconnecting with people and adapting to what's happened to you.
Quick follow-up with resiliency. You talked about community earlier. How does that play into being able to lean on someone when you're both going through, similar sort of incident, and you can both prop up your own resiliency?
Being together with people that you care about and you care about you, and understanding that everybody's in a different place at different times in their sadness and even in their acceptance of what's happened. And so you have to really gauge that you may not be in the same place that your best friend is. You may not be in the same space that people want you to be, and that's okay, right? All of that care and concern and all of that comes from knowing that everybody's different.
This space did kind of come out of the tragedy in September, but does that mean that this is a fleeting space, that maybe in a few months, or put whatever kind of time stamp on it, that it's going to go away, or will this space continue to be a resource long into the future?
So after a mass tragedy, the duration of the Resiliency Center can actually vary, and they can vary across the nation about how long they stay open. The specific nature of these centers depends really on the community needs and the resources available for the long-term supports. A good example might be, for instance, when Club Q happened in Colorado Springs, the Prism Community Collective in Colorado Springs has now really thrived in giving the community back something they needed, right? Which is a collective space for people of the LGBTQ community to take advantage of. So it's still ongoing. The Resiliency Centers are grant funded, and so it does also pertain to how long that funding stays put. Sure, yeah.
Even if it doesn't last forever, at least in this community, you're sowing the seeds of that need, and it can be a bigger priority moving on into the future, I imagine.
And I have to tell you, every time I hear someone come in and tell me, oh my gosh, the community has needed something like this for a long time, and it's happened, right? That they needed a place for recreation or just a safe place to gather. And so that's good to hear, because we're hoping that the community will keep this alive once our grant funding is over and we leave, that this space can still be a place of connection and relationship building and a safe place to bring peace about to the community that was so violently disrupted.
Just in your time in this field of work, how have you seen people's perception of mental health grow through that time, and where do you think we still need to improve?
There's always going to be hesitation, because people will say, and I think sometimes it comes from a defense mechanism. I think it's, I don't really need that because I'm pretty resilient, right? Like, I'm a pretty strong person. And then 6 months later, they can't get out of bed, right? It doesn't have to happen right away. You don't have to really claim anything right away. And some people will feel like they're not impacted, and everybody that loves them sees that they are. It comes in different forms, so it's kind of a hard thing to kind of put your finger on and the pulse of, because I think, that resiliency and that place of normalization and that place of regaining some of their power back after something like this has happened is all really individualistic.
We want people who are listening to this podcast episode to maybe, I didn't know Evergreen had this resiliency center. Maybe they're right down the street and had no clue that this was here for them and this was an option if they do need a safe space to go. But maybe some people are listening, and maybe this brings up feelings of some trauma for them and maybe hits harder than we are hoping for this episode does. If someone is in urgent need of some mental health help, where can they go right now?
The National Mass Violence Center is a wonderful place to gain tools, and they can actually go to the National Mass Violence Center space, and they'll point them in the right direction for what is available in that state.
And 988, okay. 988 is the National Suicide Prevention line.
Personally, in your time, in the short time that you've been here, how does it make you feel to see some of these kids, how far they've grown?
Right now, I think what we're providing for them is a space to kind of hang out. And I think that that's working as far as getting their mind off some of the things that have been happening. It's good to see them come and feel free to come and feel safe here.
Right.
And it is tremendous to see them play. So the whole experience has been fantastic. We want to encourage people, though, that We want more people to take advantage of what we have, and we've kind of gone over that today. But if there is something that they need we don't have, we are completely open to making that happen for them if they think that that would help them in their resilience, path.
All right. If we're wrapped up here, we can head down to the foosball table if that's all right, and we can, play a couple games.
Except for you, I'm like an expert.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Okay.
I might just start the popcorn machine up.
Yeah, that looked pretty good
I
on
have
the
to tell
way
you,
in.
we're having different summer events that are coming up, like cornhole tournaments, and some of the things that are happening that really they do restore your faith in humanity, and restore that understanding that violence is not normal. We cannot normalize it. What happened to you is not normal. Right. So.
Yeah. Totally. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having us.
And thanks for letting us come to you and sit in this cozy space.
Absolutely. You're welcome anytime. I feel like we're friends now.
I feel like we were friends from the beginning, but...
Thank you.
We appreciate Ami for coming on and sharing how the Evergreen Resiliency Center is helping individuals and families find connection and healing during an incredibly difficult time.
It's moments like these that remind us of the strength of the community and the importance of showing up for one another.
Yeah, and if this episode was difficult to hear, please take care of yourself and reach out for support if you need it.
We did mention it in the episode, but again, 988 is the Colorado Mental Health Line. It'll send you directly to Colorado Crisis Services. It used to be a 1-800 number, but now all you have to do is call or text 988 and you'll get the help you need.
And please, everyone out there, take care of yourselves and keep looking out for one another, Jeffco.